Dark Angels, how to paint them? That's the question, and here on the mini painting page we may just have an answer. And my name's Ben. We're going to be jumping in on how to paint this Dark Angel in a stunning green scheme that they are known for, and make sure that it is something that we can do efficiently and quickly so that we can replicate it across a large army. And let's not waste any time jumping in. We're going to be starting off with a heavy zenithal prime. By starting off with a heavy zenithal undercoat, we will be making sure that we have a bright base to work from. And then what we can do is grab a brush and get in there with a pot of dark green paint. This will be used to base coat all of the armour of the Marine and is going to be the darkest colour that we'll be using for the armour. Therefore, we want to bear this in mind when going and actually picking this colour out. We may need to do a couple of coats to get a nice clean consistency across all of the surfaces of the armour, and this can then be followed up with a combination of edge highlights as well as some optional volumetric highlights, using a combination of our dark green base coat as well as a brighter green in roughly a 50-50 mix. If we're opting to do volumetric highlights, we'll need to pay attention to the viewing angle and the particular areas that we're painting so that we get a nice consistent look of light hitting the model based on where we're predominantly going to be viewing the model from. Once we have this mix of 50-50 light and dark green down and we've mapped out all of our highlights, we can then come in with the brightest green that we used from the mix and do some final edge highlights and volumetric highlights, catching the most prominent areas and surfaces. At this point, we can call the armour done for tabletop standard and move across to the robes that all Dark Angels seem to be wearing all over their armour, and therefore what we can do is tackle this with a dark brown base coat so that we have a nice dark shadow to work from, and we can also do the same thing for the various leather pouches and holsters all the way across the model. At this point, we do have a couple of options. We can either wet blend the fabrics to get a nice smooth transition. Alternatively, if you're not particularly comfortable wet blending, follow along with what we're doing here because we'll be using multiple layers to build up a smooth transition. Assuming that we're opting to go for the layer option, what we want to do is take a bottle of mid flesh tone and mix this into the brown that we use for the initial base coat. Here we are aiming for around a 50-50 mix of each colour. And what we can do is put down a couple of layers across all of the bulk raised sections of the robes, leaving the base coat brown in all of the deepest recesses, but making sure that we do catch all of those billowing raised areas across the model. Once this is dry, we can follow it up with another highlight. This time we're going to want to narrow the area that we're targeting and use a brighter version of the colour. We'll be using the same two colours, but in roughly a 75 flesh and 25 dark brown mix. We can use this and go around and essentially follow the previous highlight steps we've done, as I said, just in a narrower form. And this is ideal if we want to also do some texturing. We could do some cross-hatching or anything like that into the robes. If we wanted to build out an effect like that, this would be the perfect time to do that. We can then finally finish off the robes with a final round of highlights. And here we're going to be using the flesh that we've used in our mix up until this point, and use this to catch all of the upper and outermost areas before we move across to tackle those pouches that we left in a base coated brown. To get a little bit of definition and difference on these areas without detracting too much from the rest of the model, what we can do is take a light flesh tone and apply this to the area in some scratchy textured highlights, catching all of the leather areas. Once that's dry, we can follow up with a simple wash of either a flesh tone or an earth tone. That covers the majority of bulk areas that cover the entirety of the model, and then we can move on to some of these smaller, more detailed areas, starting off with the emblems on the chest and the shoulders and things like that. Here, we want to apply a smooth base coat of this light skin tone that we've used previously across all of the various emblems and parchment, catching the shoulder, the helmet, all of the purity seals, everything like that. Once this is dry, we can then give all these areas a simple but light black wash. This will help to pick out all of the recesses and details on the sculpted model. And then we can finish off those areas with an edge highlight using the skin tone we applied as a base coat. For the red elements that aren't the emblems, what we can do is give these areas a nice simple base coat of a reddish brown before applying a rough and ready edge highlight and volumetric highlight with a bright red. Once both of these colours are done, we can then follow it up with a simple crimson wash. This will help to tie the reddish brown and the red highlights together, giving us a nice red effect on these weapons and all of the areas we've chosen to be red. I did just want to take one moment to interrupt myself here, and what I was going to say is, naturally, you can swap these techniques and methods out for preferred ones that you have already. So, for example, the reds, if you have a preferred method that you use consistently for your models that is already painting red, feel free to use that instead of the method that we've just gone over. Alternatively, if you want to nick it, just use it, it's perfectly fine. Alternatively, if you prefer to spend more time and put more work into those smaller details on your models, let me know down in the comments below because I'd be interested to find out. Anyway, let's not waste any more time. Now that you've left a comment and subscribed, we can jump into the metals, which will start off with the black base coat. Once our black base coat is dry, however, we can then come in with our preferred mid-silver tone. And then on areas like the gun, which have a fair amount of textures and small details, we can simply do some rough edge highlights to pick out all of those areas. Then for the larger areas, like the sword belt buckle, we can go in and lay down a nice clean base coat. Once all of these areas have dried completely so that we don't end up with any shifting pigments or any metallic flakes, we can give all of these areas a simple black wash. Once this wash has dried, the shine on the metallics will have dropped off and dulled out slightly, so we can give everything one more round of edge highlights to give us a nice shiny look and some depth to the metallics on the model. Then what we have is the actual sword itself. We can just leave this metal with a wash. Alternatively, we can go into other ways of painting power swords and special effects on weapons. So if you are unsure on how you want to do it, why not stick around and follow this technique? In order to pull this off, what we're going to want to do is take a light flesh tone and then make sure that we start from the energy node on a power sword and highlight that as well as the edges. Then what we want to do is paint on some lightning bolt lines down the blade, starting from the node to the edges. This can then be followed up with a thin coat of contrast in our chosen blade color. In this case, we're going to be using a blue contrast. Once that's dry, we can then repeat the lightning effect using the skin tone we used previously. And here we want to follow some of the patterns, but also create new patterns of lightning going down so we get some depth on the blade. Once this second layer of skin is dry, we can then come in and give it a wash. This time we're aiming for an actual wash, so a citadel wash as opposed to a contrast. And this will try to be darker than our initial color. So we're going for a dark blue and we'll give the blade an entire coverage. At this point, you may be happy, or we can just keep repeating various layers of lightning bolts and this blue wash. We can also do the same thing for the plasma coils on just a smaller scale. As I said, the advantage of this is that we can repeatedly apply lightning bolt effects as well as the wash that we've chosen to use. And over time, this will give a decent level of depth and effect to the blade. We can then finish it off by just picking out some of the brightest highlights with the flesh color and not applying a final wash. And then that gives us a beautifully painted Dark Angels model, which overall I think is something we can achieve quite effectively on a larger scale. If we were to batch paint it, for example, we could get a nice army out without too much time. Overall, this model took about 2 to 3 hours, not including the base. So naturally you will need a base for your model, and if you want to do designed bases or sculpted bases, that may take a little bit longer. But if you are interested in seeing how to make bases like that, why not check out this playlist here, which might have a few suitable options for your Marines for their next parade battle. If you're too busy now, don't worry, just remember to subscribe so that we can see you next time.